Everyone, and welcome back to my channel for another process video. This is going to be challenge number 4 that is going on in the Secret Not So Secret Kit Club. And this is where each of my team members had to give me a prompt that I had to do with my layout. So Miranda, Amy, Becky, and Naomi told me to use green, map my layout with cardstock, use mixed media, and ink my edges. So I wanted to do something really different. I always use cardstock to do the outer part of framing of my layout. Instead, this time I wanted to use it for the inner part of my layout. And so I saw Missy Winnan and Paige Evans do this, and I thought, you know, I'm going to give it a try, because that was something very common that you would see where people would use colored cardstock as their background of their photo. And so that's what I did here with the blue. So I grabbed some Chatterbox. Yes, I said Chatterbox. Come on, you guys know me. I'm all about using up my older stash. So I pulled these Chatterbox that I thought would work perfectly with the photo that I'm going to be working with. So the photo that I'm going to be working with is my daughter and her best friend that moved away, and they were back to school for their first day. And I snapped a photo. So in the background of this photo, you actually see the oranges, the blues, flowers, the green, definitely the green, and that was all in this collection. And that was one of the reasons why I picked this collection, because it ended up working out perfectly. Now the one thing about Chatterbox is the papers are pretty thin, so you do have to have some type of cardstock somewhere, either behind the paper, or in this case it's going to be the frame of my layout, to be the support of these really thin papers. So I'm just doing a really simple design. I've done this many times. It's been around forever. It's taking a strip of powder paper, putting it down in the middle, and going from there. Each one of my layouts are different, but I am going to add some extra adhesive to this, because where my girlfriend lives, or moved to, I'm not sure what the weather's like to hold up on supplies. And with tacky glue, I definitely feel you cannot go wrong with that stuff. So I'm going to not only add my ATG gun, blah, blah. Talk about tongue twister there. And I'm also going to use some tacky glue. All right, so there's the photo. I kind of showed you, like, look around. As you can see in the classroom, you can see all those. Now, I took the advice of Shamel. I remember when Shamel said, you know what, if you're on a budget, definitely grab the pattern paper that you can fussy cut or detail cut, whatever you want us to call it, to use those pieces that are on that pattern paper as ephemera. So when I got that photo, or got that frame, I saved it because I knew I was going to cut the flowers. Now once it was all done cutting the flowers, on the back side of it was this olive green or pea green that is going to be matting the photo. It's a little bit darker shade, but there's all the flowers that I fussy cut. So here's where my ephemera is, because Chatterbox and Basic Gray, they were the first company ever to release a collection. And oh my gosh, I remember how everybody went wild and crazy over it, because we finally had papers that coordinated with each other and you didn't have to think about it. But again, there was no stickers, there was no ephemera, so you had to use your own. So in this case, I'm just using the flowers. So there I had all this piece left over. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably just going to put this in my stash like I normally would, and probably put it in a scrap bin and forget all about it. Well, I was watching my good friend Miranda, and girl, you are so smart. She did this with her Cricut, where she used it for some dies or to create all these shapes. And when she was done, she had leftover piece like something like mine, and she just started layering it up behind her photo. And I thought, that is brilliant. So I do the same thing. I am just going to go around. I'm going to rotate the papers, rotate the photo, so all the same colors are not behind. And when I'm done, I love this so much, because literally I took that sheet of paper, it's now completely gone. I had a few itty bitty pieces that went into the recycle bin, but now I've got all these gorgeous layers going behind my photo, with pops of color, a ton of layering going on, and I used up a whole sheet, which we celebrate whenever we use something in scrapbooking, don't we? And it's just a lot of fun when you do that. I get super excited. I still like jump up and down. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I used something up. And he's like, okay. I'm like, no, you don't understand. He's like, oh no, trust me, I do, because every time you complete a layout, I can't even tell that you used anything in your room. So just funny. All right, so when I get done with all of that, I am now going to go back to the layout. And I don't normally use colored cardstock as my base of my layout. I usually use white, and I incorporate a lot of the colors in. But like I said, I wanted to do something different. I saw Missy Whitten, I saw Paige Evan do this recently, and I thought, gosh, that's what we used to do. We used to take colored cardstock. Why not? I'm going to try it, see if I like it still, and whatnot. And if not, then oh well, it's not a big deal. But when I got done, I loved the look of it. It felt very plain, and like I said, that's because when it's white cardstock, I usually do watercolors or I use some inks, and I needed to do the same thing. But the only problem is, this is a rare color combination that you don't see very often. You see it more in fall. Hence it's back to school photo. When I think of back to school photos, I think of summer's over, fall begins. And I knew that I didn't have the colors that would match with this color combination. So I played it safe. I went and grabbed some modeling paste in white, and I just then grabbed a stencil, and I added some stenciling behind those flowers just to give it a little bit of more oomph to it. I do end up realizing though at this point that it felt very off balance, only having the one border strip there. So I'm going to go back and actually add another strip, and even though it is covering all the ink that I did to the edges, and that was one of my prompts that one of them, either Amy, Becky, one of the girls, told me to do, I did ink the outer part of that blue cardstock. Alright, so once I get done with my stenciling, because I know that this video is going to come to an end here in just a few minutes, and I want to get everything in, I am going to add my title, and the title is going to be very large, and that is because this is going to my daughter and my best friend, and I'm not sure if she's going to ever journal in here, so I want to have at least the main details in the title somehow. And so my title is going to read Back to School for 3rd Grade with Miss Kelly. That sums up everything in this photo. So that way she doesn't need to worry about that. So after I get that done, oh, and one thing about the title, I did use my quick cuts because I needed orange. That was the color that I wanted the title to be. I didn't want blue. I already had enough blue going on, so I knew it had to be orange. I don't really see orange stickers very often, and this is why I'm so glad I have an alphabet die set. I have quite a few of them, but if you can only get one, I'd say just at least get one of them. And that is, I can make my own title with the papers that I have. And so it's very easy for me to use one of the Chatterbox on all of their pattern papers. When you flip it over, it's a solid color. So I found the orange one, and I just made my own title. I did go into my stash and find this Simple Stories, I think it was called like Oh Snap collection or something. It was the family collection. And it was all like 3x4 cards. I think you could also buy stickers separately and the pockets for your journaling. And I found one with a birdhouse, which was so perfect for Miss Kelly and the theme of her room. It was a very country looking room. You could see the rocker in the background. And the colors matched beautifully, which is so funny because there was an 11-year gap, I believe, with both collections, one by the Simple Stories and one by Chatterbox. So it was a perfect match. And so I'm going to have that up on the top part, and you'll see that here in a minute. I also went into my stash and found some Flair by October Afternoon. That was the school theme, and I'm going to put those around as well. And that pretty much comes to an end to my layout. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope I am inspiring you to use up your stash on what you have, and encouraging you to get that stuff used up and onto your layouts. And also, if you're new to my channel and you find that my style is like yours, definitely hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you over here, and be sure to check out YouTube and all the secret, not so secret challenges going on right now. Thank you so much for joining me, and you all have an amazing day. Bye.